So last week, sorry, I said last week, it's still this week anyway. In our last class we dealt with positioning and specificity. Is there any question on these two topics? Okay, no question. All right. And now today we go through what how CSS treats types and importance. Now, what do you mean by type? When we say type, we are only talking about, is it going to is the CSS external CSS? Is it internal CSS, or is it inline CSS? As you can see from here, external, internal, and inline. Now, when we write our external file, external CSS file, you will observe that we write the link inside the head element, right inside this head element. This is the head, and we write it inside. Then also the internal we also write in the head, but the internal will be within a style element, unlike the external where we just state link, where we just state link. But for the internal, we write our CSS declarations right within the style element. And the inline CSS we write directly within the element itself. So now, before I go on, I just remember something now, that I did not talk about this attribute within the selector. Now, in the last class, I tried to explain specificity where I tried to explain something about the ID, the class, then the element, and that if a selector, let's say selector S1, has an ID, a class, and element, the total specificity is 111. Then if another selector 2 has, say, just an ID and no class and no element, then the specificity is 100, and so on. So, and I was saying that, okay, let's try and see if what order, which one will take preeminence between the class and the attribute. So now let's see. Let's try to demonstrate that now before I go on. If I let me, what was the title of this? This is index. Index, okay. So let me preview. So now we have seen this document before. I've used it to explain CSS in the past. So let's say I want to style this content. I want to make the color of the font blue. And I'm using internal CSS, right? So I can use specificity of the element and the what is it called, the ID of div1, this ID, this one here, then the class. I can pick any one of these classes, either with or you. So I'm going to pick with, and I will say color. Let me just give it a red color. So let's see. Yes. Now you can see that the font color is now red. So now let us now write another selector to target the same div element, but now we will try to use attribute instead of class. So let's say div pound div1, then attribute of class, having attribute of class with the value of width and hue. So if I say color blue, let's see what this will give us. Red is still red. Is there something we are not doing right? Let me just be sure. Let me comment this one out. I just want to be sure that there's nothing we are not. Okay, so that means that there's something we are not doing right. So div, then pound div1. Okay, space. Yes. Okay, now it's working. I left the space out. So let me uncomment this one back and see which one will take effect out of these two selectors, because these two selectors, they are both targeting this same element. So now you can see that the blue takes effect. Now let's cut out this and see, based on position, based on this position, if we remove it, since the same selector is targeting the same element. So let's move it. Let's move this other one up and see whether it will still be blue. So okay, so you can see now it is red. So that shows to you that these two selector, they are equal in terms of specificity. They are on the same level. So because they are of the same specificity, the same level of specificity, then the position will take effect. If you remember that when I explained that CSS is cascade, it's going, it will start from up, cascade to the next one, then to the next one, then to the next one. So it will first of all style this div element. So it first of all style it blue, then immediately we now style it red, because they are of the same level of specificity. So that is why if you copy one above the other, the last one will take effect. Let me demonstrate it again. If I cut this one out, let me clear my screen there. Okay, I need to be using the board anyway. So if I cut this out and put it at the top, right before this other one, you will see that it will again be styled blue, as you can see. So is there any question on that before I move on? No question. Okay. All right. So now we are now going to the type, which is the CSS, external CSS, internal CSS, and the inline. Which one takes preeminence? Now I'm going to create an external file. Let me be sure I do not have any file called my CSS in my documents. Okay, I do right here. Okay. So now I'm going to open up my CSS, and now I'm going to comment all this out. Everything. Because I want to give it a new CSS. What's going on? Okay, let me comment this out. Okay, so everything is out. Now I go back to my internal. But before I do this, let me also comment this out. Then preview the document. Now, the document is without any style or any of our defined styling. So let's go back. Now, I'm going to uncomment this out, right? I'm seeing that there's still no style. Then I will go to my css.css, and I will give it the same styling here, which I did earlier on. The div, then the ID, and the class selector. So I give it a color of red, and as you can see, the font color is now red. That is the external style sheet. Now, this exactly the same thing. I'm going to uncomment this now. I will now give this a blue color. So the question is, which one will take preeminence? If you remember that I said CSS is cascade, it comes from the first down to the second down there. So it comes here, style this one, use this one to style the document, then it falls through to this internal. So, and now it will now style the document that we are targeting the color of blue. And if we go to the browser, you will see that we have that blue right there. So that is the behavior of CSS. It will take the very first one, pass through, right? The moment the what's it called? Selector, they are on the same specificity, then it will use this to style. Now let us try something. Let us make the styling in the external less specific. Okay, more specific rather, and make the one in the internal less specific. Let's see whether the one with higher specificity will apply. Now, to make this one less specific, we'll just remove, let's say, IID. Let us remove the ID. Remember, like I said, if if you have your ID, you have your class, and you have your elements. Now, what I've just done is that for for this other one inside there, it has the element, it has the class, it has the ID. So the specificity here is 111. And for this one, it's just the element, this div element, then the class element, and this one is 0. So the specificity is just 11. So this one is more specific than this. And if a selector is more specific, the declaration within that selector will take effect no matter the position. Even if this one is right at the top and this other one is right at the bottom, this will always take effect because the level of specificity of this is higher than this. So now let us see. Now that we made what is inside this more specific, and we made what is inside this one less specific. But before I review, let us test our CSS to ensure that it is working in both types. So let me clear the screen. Then I will come here, comment out this one first. Let me see whether this will be blue. It should be blue. Yes. Okay. Now, because this one also has a class of width. Okay. Let me just remove this one for now. Just I want only that to be blue for now. So now we have this one style blue. Now let us comment this one out and uncomment this. We should have that one red now red. Yes. So now let us now remove this comment also here. Undo. Let's remove this comment. So now this one is less specific. If we go by cascading, this should take preeminence. But let's see which of these will be side. Is it red or is it blue? So you can see that red takes effect. Why? Because of specificity. The selector here is more specific than the one here. So that will take effect. However, if the two are of the same level of specificity, let me take this one out, then it will now be blue. No, hold on. Did I do the same thing? Div dot width and answer and div dot width and div dot width had the same level of specificity. Yes, now it is blue. So cascading takes effect in that position takes effect right in there. Is there any question in what I have just explained? Is there any question?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. So now let's move on to the next one. Okay, yes, we have one more. Now, the element itself inline. So now let me use yellow here. So now I want to give this inline style. So I say color yellow. This one should take effect over any other one. Exactly. It is the inline styling. Why is that so? Okay, now let us make this one again more specific and see. And let us see what we have. So now we call this one hashtag div1 again, and let's see. You can see that it is still, let me refresh it. Yes, it is still yellow. But why is that so? Because earlier on I said that if this one is more specific, right, it will take effect. Now, I want you to view it from this perspective. Somebody external to me, or maybe let's say a friend of mine is trying to give a description of me, right? Somewhere to another person. And now, me, myself, now this is me. I am giving a description of myself. Who do you think we give a better judgment of himself or herself? Of course, that element itself. So this external says, external side is saying that you are red. This internal is saying you are blue. But this deep element itself is saying I am yellow. I am yellow. So there's no other person that can say otherwise. This will always take effect because it is personally giving the styling to itself. So that is why this one will always take effect in line. And the more reason why we discourage inline, maybe um, you can use it as maybe the last fallback in case probably the you are writing a very complex code and you are trying to target a particular element and because of the large code you have written and the particular styling you are trying to give it is not working. So you use this. But there's another one called importance that we are still going to talk about, which is this one right here. This one is saying that whatever, wherever you are, this is far more important. Just style me green. So now let's remove this one for now. Let me remove this one for now. You want to? Okay. Now I'm going to give another just just element here. But this one. Let me just give it the same selector here, div dot width. Let me just give it the same selector. Just copy and paste anyway. So now I'm going to say this one is important. Let's say this is green. Remember earlier on that this other one has more specificity. Div class and div ID and class 111. However, this other one has less specificity. And because of that, the red takes effect. But now let's see what will happen. Will it still be red or this green? Let's preview. Now you can see that it is green. Why? Because of this important. It's saying that whatever sign you have received before me, whatever the level of specificity, disregard and make this important. So, and that is why this we receive the green color, font color. Now let me try something that I've never done before. Now let's now give this the inline styling. Let's see what will happen. Will this green take effect, or will this one be, will it take effect? Let's see. Let's go back. Refresh, refresh, refresh. As you can see, it is still green. So this is even far important than the element itself. If I remove this one, comment it out, it will now be red. It is this red that is taking effect, not the red inside this one. Okay, let me change this one back to yellow so that you can see that it is the styling here that is taking effect. You can see yellow. But if I apply this one back, you will see it is now green. Why? Because of the important. So is there any question on what we discussed tonight? Is there any question?
No, sir.
No question. All right. Now let us quickly go through the assignment. Yes or no answer, please. Ademola, did you do the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Feromi, did you do the assignment? Feromi, no answer. Joshua, did you do the assignment?
Yes, sir. I
Okay,
did.
you did. Thank you so much. Larry, did you do the assignment?
No, sir.
Okay. Now I want Joshua to present first. Now, Joshua, I'm going to give you the control. So, Joshua, you have the floor.
Okay, sir. I'm coming.
Okay.
Wait, what's something? So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Okay. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Style dot artist dash main header featured artist bold. Okay. Let me see the preview. It. Let me see it. Now, I want to ask you, did you do this by yourself?
I did.
Good. You sure you did it by yourself?
Yeah, I'm sure I did it.
Okay. So are you getting better now?
Yeah, I'm getting better. I understand.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. So I'm taking control away from Joshua. Now I want Ademola to present. We are getting close to designing our web page.
Okay, so this is it.
Okay. Yes. Exactly what I want. All right. So did you have any difficulty?
No, it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard. I made it simple anyway, on purpose. All right. Let me see the styling again.
Me.
Artist. Okay, you use date. Okay. Then go to the CSS. Let me see again. Okay, main header, featured artist. Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, thank you. So, and I want to ask again, Feromi, Oh, she didn't answer me. Feromi. Okay, it appears she did not do the assignment. So let me see. I still have some minutes left. Okay. Now, thank you so much for the assignment. The assignments are there to make you practice so that the lessons are um, inculcated in you. The more you practice, the better you are going to be. You cannot learn by just listening to the lecture. You actually learn by listening to lecture and practicing more. It is when you are practicing that is exactly where you will be learning. You will, it is during that period that you observe that um, there are errors in your code, and you need to do debugging to clear out those errors. So please and please, let us try, let's endeavor to do the assignment. So today we are going to open another chapter, positioning. Positioning. Positioning is all about where your element is. By default, by default, they are static. What do we mean by static? Okay. Okay, I need to share my screen. I've not shared my screen. And where is the share button again? Okay. All right, so now let's me remove all the styling here. I want to start on a new note. And let me put back this other one that I deleted earlier on. Remove this styling and go to my external, remove the styling. Okay, so now if we preview this document, you will see that by default, all elements tends to align to the left-hand side, and the block level element tends to go after the order on top of each other like that. This is block level element, and it will span from the far left to the far right. That is block level element. But when we are talking about inline follows each other, like as if they are on a line, right? And it is until it gets to the end of the viewport, then it will now continue to the next line. So that is inline. And by default, most of the divs, p elements, h1 elements, those most of the elements, they are block level elements. And the few other ones like the span, the bold, strong, emphasize, emphasize, those elements, they are inline elements. Also image, I think image is also an inline element. So by default, every element aligns to the left-hand side of the page, as we can see here. Now, this is static. This is the default. This one here is the default, static. You can see that the element will tend to go on top of each other. like that. Now, next to this static, which is the default, is relative. What is relative? As you can see it from here, the relative is what? Position relative to the default position. For example, if I come here, this element by default is to the left hand side right there. But if I want to move it away from that default position, I will use the value of relative for the declaration of for that the property position to move it away. Let us particularize it. Now, let's say I want to move the very first one, London. So let's go back to the code here. And we can see that we have the body, we have the main, and inside this main, we have this div. And this is the one we are trying to target. So now I want to move the entirety of this div. I want to move it to shift from this position to somewhere here. So let's say I want to move it by say 400 pixels, for example, away from the default position. I'm going to use that position property with value of relative. So that simply means that I will go back to my code, target this element by using the appropriate selector. So I'm going to use div because this is the only one with div1. Yes, so let me just use ordinary div. I can use ordinary div to target it, div1. Then position relative. Position property, the value is relative. Now, this will not do anything. If I preview the browser, you will see it is still right there. I must give it a value. Do I want to push it away by 400 pixels? Then I will say from the left hand side, right here, push it away 400 pixels. So I will say left 400. Now it has pushed it away from the default position down here. Now, again, let's see what happens when I say right. Let's change this one to say right. I'm trying to bring out something here. Let me reduce the value to 200. Let's see what happened. Now, it pushed it away from the right. Now, look at here. Let me demonstrate this. Where's my pencil? Okay, let me go to the whiteboard. Now, the element, so the content is right here, right? And this is the left hand side. This is the right hand side. Earlier on, I applied left of 400 pixels. So it moves this from here down here. So this is a new left, and this is a new right. 400 from here to here, 400 pixels. Now, when I applied right 200, what it did is to move it from this right hand side away 200 pixels. So it moved from here to somewhere here. Somewhere here. 200 from here, from the right. That is what relative. It will move it away from the default position, and this is the default position, right? So if you indicate 400 left, it will move it. If you indicate 200 or even 400 right, it will move it to the right. Now, let's see whether we can do top. So let's go back to the code. If I want to move, let me take this one back to change to left. Let me do left again. What's wrong with you? Left of 200, let me give 400 to push it further away. 400, I push it 400 away from the position. Now I can do top. I can push it away from the top also. Let's see. Top, also 400 to make it very obvious. You can see. So you can see that I can move elements around from its normal position to anywhere of the page that I so desired. First, I move it 400 to the right, to the left, from the left. Then from the top, I move the another 400. Right. Is there any question on what I just explained before I move further? Is there any question? Feromi, any question? Sister Dari, any question? Ademola, any question?
No, sir.
Joshua, any question?
No, sir.
All right. So it's well understood. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Now, before we close tonight, we have less than about 12 more minutes. Now, absolute. What is absolute? Let's see it here. It says that absolute is positioning relative to the nearest positioned ancestor. I will take that again. It is positioning an element to the nearest positioned ancestor. This one is positioning an element relative to the default, where it should be. Like you can see this element should be here, but we now move it away from that default position. And when we did that, I want you to notice something. This other one never moved to, or let me see, never attempted to occupy the space up. They remain at their position. It is assumed, they assume that there's still this first element right at the top there. So they are not moving to occupy that position. Now, absolute is saying that you need to position an element relative to another ancestor that has the property of position. But if the ancestor, what we mean by ancestor is the parent element. If that parent element is not positioned, which position means that it does not have the position property, whether a position property of static relative or position value of absolute. That parent must have a position value. But if that parent does not have a position property and you give an element a value of absolute, that element will be positioned to the left corner of the page, right? It will be positioned, right? Maybe, let's say, let's go to the browser. Now, this is your viewport from here, from the left to the right to the bottom, right? Now, if the parent element is not positioned and you have tried to apply a position to a child element, that child element will go out of that parent and will try to position itself relative to the body, to the viewport. Let's practicalize it. Now let us return this back. Let's delete this one, make it back to the normal position, which is the default static. Now let's inspect our code. Now this, okay, let me use this one, this second one, or this third one. Let me even use this third one. Now I have div 3 now, and I have home. Room rather. Let me give this an ID of room. So now let's see what will happen if we try to position just this H2. It is H2 with value of absolute. So ID room. ID room. Let me be sure that I am targeting that room first. Red. Yes, I'm targeting it. All right. So now I'm going to give it a position property and value of absolute. Absolute. Let's see if there's any effect. Look at what happened right there. Something has changed. Can you see that it appears that the H2 has been taken out of the flow of the document? If you remember what I said in the past, that the normal flow of elements is to stack itself one on top of the other. But look at Rome now. This H2 Rome is no longer following that order. It's like it's written on another piece of paper, and that piece of paper is now lifted up from the normal flow and is now floating, and the rest of the document now occupies a space. Now let's something. If I change this back to relative, no, I was trying to point it out earlier on. You can see that relative is following that normal flow of documents. It's following the normal flow of documents. Even if I move it around, that space will still be there. This other one will not attempt to occupy its space up there. But the moment I change this to absolute, Rome is now taken out of the flow of out of normal flow of documents. So now, if I now note this other one, the definition that says that it will be positioned nearest to a position ancestor. Now, the parent of this H2 ID Rome is this div. This is the parent, but this parent is not positioned, meaning that there's no position property applied to this div 3. Therefore, this will not be positioned relative to this div. Rather, it will be positioned relative to the viewport, to this viewport. Now, let me give this room top of 4 pixels and see what will happen. Top. From the top, just go 4 pixels. You will see Rome is now right 4 pixels down. If I do left, okay, move it from the left hand side, move it, say 400 pixels. Let's see what happens. Now you can see it is now moved 400 left, 4 pixels down from the top. But this other one is now behaving as if this never even existed. Unlike the relative, the space is still left right there. Let's change it to relative so that you understand what I'm talking about. If I change this to relative, now look at the space is still there, but now relative has moved it 400 pixels away from its normal position, and 4 pixels from, okay, where is my pencil again? You know, let's say it was here before, right? It was here before, for example. That is the line where it was. Now it has moved 4 pixels down and 400 pixels away from the left position there. That is what relative is doing. And the space is left. You can see that this guy is not moving up to occupy that space. But when we change the property to absolute, it's a different ballgame entirely. You can see this has moved up, and this is now positioned relative to the viewport. Now let's now position this ancestor, the parent, also. Let's just give it. Let's give this ID 3. Let's see. I'm giving it an ID div 3. This is where I'm going to close for tonight. So now I want to give it a position value, or let me just say relative. I'm not going to move that around anyway, but just relative. The mere fact that the parent is a positioned element, this room will now be moved around within the box. Remember, everything is inside a box. Let me go to the board. Now, remember that your element is always in a box, right? So now what will now happen now is that now this is now the div 3. This is the div 3, which is that div element with ID of div 3. And Rome is here. By default, Rome is here. This is where Rome is by default, around this place. No, now, if I now give this guy, this Rome, absolute value of position, and I say, okay, left 400 pixels, instead of it to be moved to the body, to, right now is around here, within our system, our browser rather. So now that the parent is positioned, it will now be positioned relative to this container. So instead of going here, it will now move 400 pixels from here, 400 pixels. And if I give it that top also, it will be that 4 pixel down there. Relative is like moving it inside this box instead of the body. So let's go back to see the effect of what I just said. So now I have made this box, I've given it a position of what? Relative. So that makes the parents a positioned element. Now within this element now, I want to move this room 400 pixels from the left and 4 pixels downward. So let's see what we have. You can see now it is now being moved around this box. Now it's being moved around this box. Oh, sorry, my drawing is bad. Sorry, let me delete it again. So it's being moved around this box. Let's say the box is like this, for example. And so it's being moved around that div element. Before it was here. So it's now moved 400, now 4 pixels. But as you can see, the other element moved up to occupy that position. So it's like this room is now being floated. Is there any question? Is there any question?
No, sir.
Ademola, no question.
No, sir.
Feromi, no question. It appears Feromi is just here today to view. Okay, no question. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give, but the class is very few today. Should I give an assignment? Yes, let me just give you assignments, whether they are here or not. They are expected to be here anyway. So now, my assignment is this, and I'm going to share this document. Now, I want you, let me remove everything in this style. Let me go back. Now, I want you to move the entirety of this, move it to somewhere here, everything to somewhere here. So you decide the pixel value you want to give it, or just move it somewhere here. And move this one to somewhere at the middle, right? And this other one, okay, let's see. I want you to apply the what's it called? Absolute. So now I want this one, the everything, all the content, move it to somewhere here. Move it to somewhere here. All the content, I repeat, all the content inside this div, move it to somewhere to the far, somewhere here on the right hand side. Then this other one, this second div, move it to somewhere in the middle, right? I just want to see something like this going that direction. Then move this one here. Now, and inside each of this, I want you to move the topic. This topic, London, Oslo, and Rome. I want the topic to be right the center. at the center. At the center. Within that box. Right? Move it and make this to be at the center, at the center, at the center. But I want the entire box to appear in this manner. Is there any question on the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's your question?
The first box that the London
Hmm?
title, you said that we have to move at the last, because I don't understand.
No, 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 no. Don't confuse this arrow. Yeah. What I'm saying is that it has to be diagonal.
Okay.
Yes, diagonal. Yes, that's what I'm saying. This first div must be on the far right. This one must be in the middle. You can see that it is diagonal in direction like that. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand now? This first div must be
So,
on your right. This second div near middle, and this one just shift it a bit from this position. Maybe you can do like maybe 200 or 300 pixels, whatever. Just move it. Just make sure that it is not in the alignment with this at the center, and this one too should be there, should be on the far right. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let me repeat. Don't look at my arrow. My arrow is just to tell you that it should be diagonal in nature. As you can see, it is diagonal. It's either I can draw it this way, it's still diagonal. No, it's diagonal, right? So I want it to be diagonal in nature. That is what I'm trying to say. It might not be a perfect diagonal. For example, it can be something like maybe this other one, maybe for example, maybe it's somewhere here, and this one is somewhere here, or this one is somewhere here. But I don't want it to be in alignment. I don't want the three to align together in this format. No, I don't want it to be aligned. This one should be to the far right. This one should be somewhere in the middle, and this one should be close to the left hand side, as you can see here. This one is more left. This one is more right, and this one is more at the center. This one. It might not be perfect, but I want it left, right, center. Then I want the H2s, London, Oslo, and Rome, to be at the middle, at the center of that. Try as much as possible. I know you will need to play around with pixel values. You have to play around with a lot. You try to achieve the alignment, the center alignment of this H2. Is that clear now? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Joshua, is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So that is the assignment. Don't worry. You by the time we get to um Flexbox, this one, by the time we get there, you will see how easy it is to arrange and align your document. It's far more, it's easier. You will see, this one that we are trying to use positioning to align, to do alignment, use a float also to do alignment. No, you will see later that Flexbox and Grid, they are the right tool to do your layout of your document. Okay, so in the absence of any question, then so it is safe to call it a day. Let me clear my board. All right, thank you. and see you on Tuesday by God's grace.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.